All right. So with knife fighting, first thing is my stance is similar but different from my Jeet Kune Do stance. I want to kind of keep the same line where I'm going big toe to the back heel. But what I want to do is I want to condense myself, so I don't want my knee to be outside of my shoulder. And that's because this is a very like military kind of fighting style. There's taking into account the knee strikes. So if I'm doing like a boxing, kickboxing, or street self-defense type of thing, I have a lot more weapons at my disposal and I have a lot more movement. And I'm not saying you don't have those same weapons, but in knife fighting it's kind of centered around the knife, cutting and not being cut, and then counter cutting, controlling them and stabbing right away type of situation. Whereas from here, like I have all kinds of things to prevent me from getting hit in the knee. But because this is real close, I don't want to be out here, because at this point you can easily break my knee, like doing like different knee strikes, coming across this way, coming outside, different things like to break the knee. Like my one student almost hyperextended my knee the other day because just way back here, it's just super powerful. That side kick down is very powerful. So my stance is just condensed. So I want to keep nice and tight here, okay? The first basic stance that I like to start with is called the military stance. And you're bringing the arm out to here, okay? This actually works really well. I actually picked this up from like an in-depth video that I just came across, and I was like, this is really cool to throw in for people who already do knife stuff. But right away, what you're using is this is protecting kind of your vitals, even if you do get cut. But the idea is if he tries to come in, this is a bait hand, as I pull this off to cut his knife hand, and then once I cut his knife hand, then I can finish the fight. When I move into other stances, my movement is just back and forth this way, okay? So I can choose to be flat on my feet or be on my toes, one for balance versus speed, okay? So my cuts in general, you want to make this like circle, okay? So I don't want to go outside of that circle. So I don't want to cut like this, because now I've left myself open. Same thing this way. So when I do my cuts, I want to keep nice and tight here, okay? So I want to keep myself, I'll use my hips and stuff, create angles. Anytime I do a cut, if I'm doing my cutting techniques right, you want to kind of like think like a circle, and then think of like an asterisk, okay? That's where like all my cuts, different angles are, okay? So when I do my cuts, all right, I want to make sure that it's very tight and I'm using my body, because at any point I should be able to transition into stabs. Okay, so if I cut this way, I should be able to turn that into a stab. From here, I should be able to stab, this way. Any cut should be able at any point to turn into a stab. Okay, so my grip, thumb and index finger, just to go over, and I want to keep it kind of like a drumstick, but not loose. I want this to keep my wrist loose, but I don't want to keep my hand loose, because then I don't want to, otherwise I'm going to lose the knife, okay? But so my cut is like, kind of like a popping motion here, okay? So as I cut, very powerful motion here. So if I thrust forward, it's almost like a boxing jab, okay? My motions, I use my same body mechanics for boxing, actually. So if I come down for like an uppercut, come out this way, come around different angles, it's the same thing with my knife and with my sword when I translate it into my sword. But so I keep that same, so yeah, it gives me a nice tight angle here. I can come in with my stab, boom, 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 like all these different things, these different ways here. So I can come up this way, that way, So that's just like a basic idea, is I want to keep this. And I use this hand. This hand is basically to kind of check myself. So for example, if Mumar comes in and we maybe both cut each other, maybe he cuts me here, I cut him there. If I take this hand right away, my hand is here, so right away I can come across and I can finish him while he can't finish me, okay? And it might take a couple of strikes, a couple of stabs to actually like be out, okay? Because depending on the size of the knife and depending on where he cuts you, you're still going to keep going, okay? And even if you take a brutal cut, you can still recover from that. He can't recover from repetitive stabs here, you know what I mean? So even if I don't want to kill him and just move on, if I stab him here, there's a good chance, you know, I've cut him here, I've cut him here, there's a good chance I'm not going to have to deal with him anymore if I'm like in combat, depending on the situation, if I need to move forward, whatever. All right.